The sixth set will be played on Korhal Floating Island with the cross spawns in the top left and bottom right.
I want to see how Argo walls off then.
It'll be curious to see. Anyway, we have SoulKey spawning as the yellow Zerg in the top left.
And his opponent, Argo, does spawn in the right bottom position as the blue Protoss. Do remember, we did have a balance change on this map for this particular matchup where it's like a Zerg versus a non-Zerg player. We do have the two neutral supply depots at each ramp, and this couple doesn't realize that they are on camera right now.
I think the guy on the left does, or our left.
Finally realized that the casters were speaking about him. It's like, well, I don't want to know if it's us or not. Head to head, SoulKey does lead against Argo in round 1-0 in round number 1, Antigua Shipyard. I just remember that was back in the map pool, back in round 1.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Thank God that map is out of the map pool, man. I did not enjoy Antigua Shipyard that much, personally.
These guys didn't enjoy Antigua Shipyard either, especially the guy on the left.
Oh, interesting. We have a gateway opening from Argo here. So, we've been seeing gateway openings a lot more against Zerg players, and Heart of the Storm specifically.
And on this map is perfect because I've been thinking about it. It's like, yeah, Forge first expand is viable on this map. You can still do it. You get the pylon, you get the Forge down on the opposite side, you get a pylon down, and then you make a small choke with a Cyber gateway. But the problem is, the thing is that you could go for the in-base gateway on the other maps, but it's harder to take the natural expansion on this map. If you take the pylon and the gateway, you already walled off on the one side of the map, so why not go for it?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, why not? Also, you can use that Zol to immediately start chipping down on the rocks as well. To help, wall off on your side of the map here. Got a probe dodging around these mineral patches here, just trying to be annoying. SoulKey's drone chasing after it, but they're at the same speed, so won't really be able to do too much here.
That ain't a beast of probe.
That's not a beast of probe. We do have that natural scouted as well, and we see a natural expansion go up immediately for Argo here, the match's opponent, grabbing his gas behind that as well. I don't think we've seen any units get built yet. He's making a Zealot now, but only after the gateway. So this is literally Forge expand, but without a Forge and a cannon, and he just went for the Nexus.
Especially after seeing the spawning pool timing, he's free to do whatever he wants to do right now. And as long as he blocks off that left side completely and makes sure that the Zerglings on the right side, there aren't that many Zerglings getting in from the right side, then he's going to be completely fine, but he needs to squeeze the units down. So now he's going to have a complete wall on the left side with the Zealot and the gateway and the pylon. Let's see how it defends the right side. Well, it seems like he's tearing something down.
I will notice that second gas spotted immediately by this Overlord, but you know what? 2 gas is very standard from Protoss after they get their expansion. It looks like SoulKey is gearing up to take his 3rd base over here, so he's going to be popping that down, trying to make sure he doesn't fall behind in the Econ war against Protoss, because of course Zerg players generally want to stay on average about 1 base ahead of their Protoss opponents. And we still see no tech commitment yet from our Protoss player here. He's going to be killing off that wall, like I was talking about a little bit earlier here.
Well, there can't be any tech commitment as of this moment because he just got the gas up, but there we go.
There's
finally, Stargate. So this is looking, like you said, more like a Forge fast opening without the Forge, and the Stargate hit around 5 minutes 20 seconds, around 20 to 30 seconds earlier than you get a Stargate with a Forge fast expand.
And we have the double gas going down from SoulKey. Standard time to get it, around 40 to 44-ish supply. Somewhere in that area there. Just really droning up hard right now. He's just focusing on his economy. Not going to go for any type of early pressure or harassment.
He does realize that this is like a regular build without the Forge. So he's like, well, there's no reason for me to panic right now. All I have to do is drone up. And behind the 6-minute Roach Warren by SoulKey.
Yeah. Just getting it to be safe here, though. Not going to really do too much with it yet. He is getting gas. He's not getting speed, though. We could potentially see a little bit of Roach aggression here from our Zerg player, but at this point, probably not too likely here. The 3rd base will get scattered as well. Even seeing the Queen there should, just help reinforce the idea that SoulKey is just playing a very economic-based game. Going ahead, he's going to get that lair as well, and getting up a few spores is, in addition to that, going to be prepared for this air harassment from Argo.
Yeah, and SoulKey exactly knows what's happening, so he's just gonna get the Spore Crawlers down in the main base, natural, and the third. And well, he doesn't exactly know, but he's getting prepared against it now that we see it. So, seems like Argo, he's trying to stack up the Phoenixes, but SoulKey already knows what his opponent is going for. So, really nice game sense, and gonna try to deny the...
Wall in his opponent there.
Completely on 2 bases.
I guess he could technically do that.
He could try to.
He could make like a couple of roaches and just kill the rocks there, and then the Protoss is pretty delayed on his 3rd base for a while.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to decide which area he wants to push out on. Because he's like, well, I want to go for this rock, I want to go for the rat rock, but the opponent will be already ready on the bottom of the ramp. And interesting enough, he wants to go for the queen, but that's only 3 Phoenixes covered by the Spore Crawler.
Those Phoenixes, one of them already almost dead here. SoulKey, he's pretty defended on all fronts here. Doesn't look like the Phoenix will do too much damage. We're seeing a Hydra Den go up for SoulKey here, getting an Evolution Chamber as well. So he'll be going to the Hydra tech. Very common nowadays. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Muta follow-up. That's also something that can definitely come from this opening here. Hydra speed on the way. Zergling speed just finished up as well. Overlord going to get kicked off there. It's a little bit out of position. But overall, not really the biggest deal. The Phoenixes haven't accomplished anything else.
And so Argo's Robo just finished up, and the question is, when is he going to take the 3rd base?
That is the question here. He has some units down there, I think maybe a pylon, so we should see one pretty soon here. We did see a few good snipes on the workers as well. This Phoenix just going to be annoying there. Robotics Bay on the way. Perfect tech decision here, because we're seeing Zergling and Hydras come out from SoulKey.
Oh yeah, the Colossus are going to do a lot of damage, but you also have to count into the fact that, okay, now there's a Nexus going down, and this is going to be okay for Argo. Usually some players try to delay the Nexus until the 11-minute mark, and it just doesn't work out, because yes, you have the Colossus out for yourself, but the problem is, once you get, the opponent's going to have a lot of units out, and even if you get the Colossus, you can't secure the 3rd base, and eventually your opponent is going to overrun you with tons of Roaches and Hydras.
That's true. We do have Spire Tech on the way, though, so it looks like he does want to eventually go into that Spire Tech here. Will be used for the Corruptors, though. That's the real question here.
Most likely Corruptors, since the 4 Phoenixes are still alive and well.
Oh, very smart. It's going to go ahead and contaminate that robotics facility there. Going to prevent it from building that Colossus for a little bit there. Just buying SoulKey more time. Completely worth it, even if he loses that Overseer. And a very smart play from Argo, using a hallucinated War Prism to try to fake out the Zerg player here. Not going to actually do any damage, though, but that's going to be in the back of SoulKey's mind there, unless he's able to kill it off or realize that it's fake.
He does realize that it's fake since it just disappeared before getting killed off. And it's a really nice way to show it, because now SoulKey did contaminate the Robo, but he didn't know what was exactly coming out of it, and he was probably expecting Colossus, and for a split second he's like, wait a minute, this could be some kind of Warp Prism pressure, one hallucinated and one going into the main base. So now he's staying a little more defensive, but after checking that there's no more Warp Prism, he's just gonna, move around the map, and triple Stargate by Argo.
Triple Stargate on the way here, starting to get those Void Rays as well. He has the Colossus tech behind this as well. 8 Corruptors already on the way. SoulKey needs to make something happen before this Protoss army can hit a critical mass, or he's just going to end up really falling behind and unable to win any type of economic battles.
Well, there's only 1 Colossus and 1 Void Ray out for Argo right now, so this would be a perfect timing to hit. Remember, he just got his 7 Corruptors, 1 more Corruptor out on the way with 10 Hydras. That's enough to take down the Protoss army as long as he fights in a favorable engagement, favorable arc.
The 3rd base is pretty open there. It's a wide choke there, so we could definitely see SoulKey move in there and try to go for an attack. At the moment, the supply is pretty far ahead for SoulKey as well.
On the contrary, I have to say, Argo, all he has to do is defend against this one timing attack, and he'll be completely fine. That's all he has to do. If he can defend this one push from SoulKey, then he's going to be fine.
Lots of cannons added into the mix here, but those are going to go down very fast. The Void Rays charged up right now. 2 Colossus in the background are going to be able to do a lot of damage to these Hydras, but with the supporting units from Argo here, they're just joining the battle right now. The Hydra's trying to focus down some of these air units here, but SoulKey's, it looks like his attention
great force fields
being a little bit, hauled off here. And it looks like Argo, he will defend against this attack here. Loses the Colossus, though.
Loses a Colossus, but he saved the base and saved most of the Void Rays for now. Third Colossus being added into the mix, and now SoulKey cannot engage into this army. So really nice defense by Argo, and also he has a nice force field trapping a lot of Hydra. So now SoulKey is going to try to go for the attack once again.
SoulKey really just keeping the pressure on here. He has those Zerglings and the Hydras. The Corruptor count could be a little bit better right now. I feel like if the Void Ray count, it's already at 8 right now, and he's just making more and more. He needs to really just keep this count down, or it's going to spiral out of control. There's no Vipers added to the mix. The Zerglings caught in a little corner there, and the charged Void Rays are going to make these Corruptors go down like flies. SoulKey forced to retreat here. The supplies now in the favor of Argo. Things are looking very good for Argo right now.
SoulKey is doing exactly what Argo wants him to do. Just attack into that smoke choke and I'll force field everything. Behind this, SoulKey is only sitting on 4 bases. I haven't seen him take a 5th base or 6th base right now, something that a lot of Zerg players do these days. And, you know, you need the economy, you need a multiple base economy to defend against those, you know, massive amount of Void Rays. And behind this, +1 attack and the air on the way for SoulKey.
SoulKey, his upgrades, they're so far behind at this point in the game. 16 minutes in, and we're only seeing 1-1 getting researched right now. He has some armor upgrades, but, I mean, I don't know if that's just not going to cut it right now.
You know, usually Protoss players during this time, they take a 4th base and then try to play as safe as possible. I don't think Argo needs to do that. He could just go for the push and win the game. There's no upgrades, there's no fungals. There aren't that many Corruptors, there aren't that many Hydras. Argo has a perfect unit composition. He has much better army, even when it comes to the numbers, pure numbers itself right now, 96 to only 66. So he could go for the attack and win the game, but he needs to be careful.
He's going for the surround here. We have a lot of cannons up at the natural. Can he make it work though? Argo wanting to move across the map right now, but he's going to move back and defend. There's a good amount of Hydras here. The reinforcements alone won't cut it. He's going to need to bring a lot of his army back to deal with this. Hydras are just trying to delay time right now. Argo not committing to defending against this necessarily. He wants to keep the pressure on his opponent in this situation, and now SoulKey up to 91 drones.
91 drones because he wants to trade about 30 of those into Sport Crawlers later. Remember when we remember flying versus Roro on Acron Waste? That's one way you could take out the Sky Toss army, just trying to turtle in with massive amount of Swarmos and trying to use the Viper to pull those Void Rays one by one, eventually pretty much suffocating the Protoss player. And that's what SoulKey really needs to do right now. In fact, he's going for the Swarmos right now.
Getting those Swarmos, getting some Infestors as well. This Warp Prism spotted, not going to really do any damage here. The Hydra's going to move in, but caught out of position. SoulKey, he needs to get his forces grouped up together right now because this Protoss army, there's Archons in there, Charge lots, Colossus, lots of Void Rays. It's looking so scary. Argo now pretty much maxed out from both sides, but a lot of the supply for the Zerg player is in drones right now. He's at 86 right now still, so we're going to have to see some really good fungals from the Zerg player in order to defend here. He can't even hold that 4th base, forced to essentially give it up.
Yeah, but Argo should also press forward right now instead of pulling back. I mean, he has a unit advantage. He saw that his opponent only has Hydras and few Infestors. So he should press on for the attack right now before critical number of Swarmos out, before the critical number of Spores are put down.
That's true. We're not seeing any static defense from SoulKey yet. He's still not maxed out. He's very low on resources right now. Oh, there he goes. He's grabbing the other expansion over here, but Argo doesn't care.
Wow.
He's going to just continue taking out bases left and right. SoulKey, I mean, he's going to have a really hard time actually dealing with this attack if he wants to fight against Argo's army head-on, which he eventually does have to do here. Behind this, SoulKey taking yet another expansion. Argo grabbing a 4th base of his own, and we're having an engagement here. Good fungals going down on the majority of this army here. We have force fields, but they're not really doing too much in this situation. And no more fungals just yet. One going down, doing a good amount of damage here. And we need to see more good fungals.
Needs 1 or 2 more.
SoulKey. If he can get just a few more and kill off the rest of these Void Rays, we could see this game flip around. A good fungal going down. That's going to kill off a lot more of those Void Rays. And that last fungal should pretty much secure the deal. 1 more going down as well. And, you know, even in a terrible situation, SoulKey, he got those good fungals down, and he was able to force Argo back. Now down to 2 Void Rays, but at the same time, that 4th base will go down here. Argo is not out of this game just yet.
Well, Argo already took a fourth base, so even if he loses some Void Rays, all he has to do is actually get the Void Rays out for himself. And look at this walling. Actually walling himself in, trying to deny the Zealots from getting in, but it's already too late. Those Zealots are tearing apart all of those drones inside the natural.
That's true. Just constant charge lots coming out from Argo. Could he actually just win against the Zerg with Zealots here?
He could definitely do it. He's buying enough time with these Zealots. In fact, those Zealots can end the game. And even if these Zealots get taken out, behind this, he's already getting a lot more Void Rays and the Colossus out, replenishing the army right now. The Corruptors are over there starting to say, well, where are the Void Rays? Well, I don't need the Void Rays if the Zealots are tearing apart everything that you have right now.
That's true. We need to see some roaches be created here from SoulKey, because at this point, you know, the Hydras, they're decent against the charge lots, but they're not being as cost efficient as they should be. SoulKey will be able to stabilize right now. With the addition of the Swarm Hosts, he should be okay. I guess he probably won't need those roaches after all, and he can just start applying pressure on this base over here.
You remember, that's only a few Swarm Hosts, so against the 3 cannons and the Colossus, nothing. He needs a lot more Swarm Hosts if he actually wants to press forward and suffocate his opponent in this game. But look at this, Corruptors are going from the right side.
SoulKey is going for the attack here. The Infested Terrans getting popped down. Fungals going on the Void Rays as well. Hydra's moving in here with the Locust doing a good amount of damage. The High Templar out of position here, trying to get some good storms off. The storms connect very well. Hit a lot of those units there, but the problem is there's nothing to help out the High Templar. SoulKey coming back in this game after looking like he was in an almost unwinnable position.
Well, do remember, Zergs can replenish the army much quicker than his opponent. Look at this, the Zealots are still doing a lot of damage on the 4th base right now, but all SoulKey has to do is put some Hydras over there and defend against it, because that 4th base from Argo is toast.
Now, the 4th base not even being mined from right now. It's going to go down. It's only a matter of time. The additional Swarm Hosts being added in. The +3 attack about to finish. Even Roach speed, just in case his opponent decides to get a lot more Storm and Zealots out to counter this army mix.
And now Argo doesn't have the economy to get the Void Rays out, to get the Colossus out. SoulKey are already banking on up in the economy once again, getting the 5th base on the right bottom side. This is looking really grim for our Protoss player from Kespa teammate.
That's true. The supply is 161 to 108 here. You know, we got a lot of cannons. We have a few Void Rays left.
You know, Argo did a nice job using the Zealots to take out the hatcheries left and right, but the biggest problem throughout the whole game is that he allowed the Fungal to go down in the first place. He should have split up the Void Rays after seeing the Infestors come out earlier in the game. He should have done that right away. Instead, he allowed the Fungals to go off, and SoulKey's like, well, I have enough Fungals. It's a free shot. Why not? I'm just going to go for it.
I really feel like those Fungals, they pretty much won SoulKey the game. I want to say that, make no mistake, guys, because he pretty much killed off all of those Void Rays and did a lot of damage to the units below hand, that completely changed the tide of the game.
And here's the thing about Protoss. Even if you have less bases, you can still stay in the game if you have the high gas army, such as the Void Rays, Colossus, and Templars. But if those get taken out, even if you get like multiple Zealots, you can't win the game until you get the high-tech army out once again. And right now, Argo doesn't have the economy to get those out.
SoulKey looking like he's feeling pretty confident here. Just, you know, really securing these bases over here, not fully committing to an attack, just, you know, keeping the pressure on. He is moving his units out here. I have to say, I love the army composition from SoulKey. He's got Infestors, Swarm Host, he's amassing the Spines and Spores. He has some Zerglings, the Hydras, Corruptors. He's got so many units in his composition. That's a huge change from what we were seeing in Wings Liberty as far as this matchup goes.
Argo's still doing a nice job defending at the 4th base, but look at this, only 2 cannons left, and the 3rd base.
Infested Terrans popping down here.
We haven't seen that many Infested Terrans, but that's looking really scary against Argo right now.
Just a multi-pronged attack here from SoulKey, taking out that expansion on the bottom position here. The Storms are decent connecting with those Hydras. Luckily, they have speed, and they're able to at least weather some of that storm there. Being forced back temporarily here. Argo, I mean, at this point, I'm pretty sure he understands that he can't come back in this game, but, you know, he's the last person left for his team. He just is trying to hold on as long as possible before being forced to exit out of the game.
And he also knows the position that his team is in right now. He knows that he needs a victory for the team. Every single one of these games matter. If you're a 7th place team in Pro League, Argo's trying to make something happen, but he doesn't have the economy economy, and especially he doesn't have the gas to get the Void Rays out or the Colossus out. His opponent SoulKey, he already has 4 Crawlers in the 6th base right now, and all he has to do is just sit over there, put these Swarmos over there, and allow Argo to attack into it.
That's true. Argo trying to be aggressive here. Swarm host being broed right now. We do have an observer in the army mix here, but the Swarm hosts are going to force away that unit, the Argo's units there temporarily at least. Getting taken out pretty easily here by these units, but the Fungal's going down. GG called from Argo at a bit of a weird time, but the game essentially was over. SoulKey takes the game, and with that, the match for WoongJin Stars, ending the score 4-2.
Argo tried to make something happen until the very last second, but knowing that there was too many Swarmers out, that he was gonna waste so many Zealots taking those out that after the engagement, even if he won the battle, he was only gonna have like what, 2 Void Rays, 1 Colossus, and no Zealots. You can't win the game with that composition.
So SoulKey with some amazing defense. You know, really just keeping with his nickname, the Iron Zerg. It was looking pretty bad for him. He was getting his expansion skilled all over the map. He only got a handful of units. He wasn't even maxed out. And, you know, pulling pretty much the most clutch Fungals I have seen in Heart of the Swarm from this side.
That's the key point. Protoss players, they could stay on 3 bases and still win the game if they have a really strong army composition. And SoulKey's like, well, my bases are being taken out, but I took out all the Void Rays from my opponents, so I can still win this game. And he just did a nice job at staying, keeping his composure throughout the whole game after the Void Rays got taken out.
Not getting flustered by the position he was in, even after his first big